So hit it.
Hello and welcome to another edition of This is the Place Sports, the podcast. It's been a minute. It's been too long. But you know what? We've been busy, okay? We have other things to do. We're happy we're here. We're happy to be here on the podcast. Dad's good to be with you.
Good to be with you, Austin. Let's jump right in and talk some sports.
Yeah, no messing around. Let's just get right to it.
All right. Well, let's start the first quarter. Let's talk about the Utah Jazz. Obviously, they got off to a great start to the season, but I think they've lost 4 or 5 all of a sudden and can't win at home.
No, I think the game against Miami was really troublesome for a few reasons, and I'll just say, I had the privilege, as you know, and I'm just letting our viewers and listeners know, to do the stats for the Miami Heat radio broadcast. So I was in the building. I was did a little prep work before the game, and there's some real troubling stuff going on with the Jazz right now. I think, obviously, like if you watch the team, you notice they shoot a lot of 3-pointers.
Right.
They actually make them at the 25th best, or one of the worst percent. They're ranked 25th in the league in terms of percentage. They are horrendous at shooting right now. They're just very dependent on the fact that if they shoot enough at a particular volume, that enough will go in, and it doesn't seem to be working lately.
It's always been my logic in ward ball is, you're not going to score unless you shoot.
Yeah, so you had some good games if I remember right.
Keep throwing them up, but no, that is troublesome. You can't be 25th and expect to be a contender.
Yeah, no, in any category, I think, what's been their saving grace has been Rudy Gobert. He's been an excellent rebounder, excellent defender, but the ball needs to go in the hoop to win the game, and it just hasn't been at a consistent pace. And I think that's going to be a real problem. I think what you take comfort in is, that it's still early in the season and there's potential to improve. But if this problem surfaces in the playoffs, you lose 4 out of 5, you're done. Yeah, you're done.
Well, can things get worse though? I mean, technically 25th, there's little room to go to the bottom, but there's more room to grow. Do you think they'll just get better?
I mean, yeah, they have to. I don't think they could shoot any worse than they are right now, for sure. But yeah, things could theoretically get worse. You worry about, an injury at this point or anything. The chatter that I've seen on Twitter that I think is kind of interesting is like, okay, seems like it's time for the Jazz to make their yearly early season trade. Who's going to go? What do you have a thought on that? Is it possible? Do you think there's a need for a trade?
Yeah, everybody talks about trades all the time, and they're unrealistic. How many times have we listened to sports radio, had some idiot call up and say, why don't they trade, 3 bags of basketballs and a couple of boxes of popcorn for LeBron James?
That'd be a good deal.
Yeah. It's there's so many logistics involved, so many contracts, so many numbers.
My favorite one I saw,
we don't know about.
My favorite dumb one that I saw this week, I think I saw it on like a Facebook group or something, was like, John Wall's not doing anything for the Rockets. Why don't they just get him and he could be Conley's backup? Like, I think that whoever that person is, bless his heart, he might be a reader or a listener. I hope he's not, because he was stupid. But they're forgetting John Wall makes $47 million next year. That's not going to be a plausible approach to fixing the problem.
Well, and the Jazz are pretty much capped out. You get the contracts of Mitchell, Gobert, Conley. Obviously, reworked his new deal is a lot less than the old one, but the fact is they've got a lot of guys they're paying a lot of money to right now, and they're gonna ride this horse and see how far it'll take them.
Yeah, they're leaning really heavily on guys making minimum contracts. Hassan Whiteside is getting Rudy Gobert's minutes when he's out of the game. Eric Pascal's been playing a lot. I think we're gonna see a change here. I think. Actually, I actually don't think we're going to see a change. I think you're right. I think they're going to ride it out and see where they are at the All-Star break. Maybe. I think that's plausible that something could change then. But as far as now, I think they're just hoping the ball goes in the hoop, as Jim Boylan would say.
Would say so eloquently, and I agree. Let's jump to the second quarter. Let's talk about the Utah and Oregon football game. It could be a preview of the Pac-12 championship game, and in all likelihood, it will be. These teams will likely meet in Las Vegas for the conference championship. What are you expecting this Saturday? Are both teams going to be vanilla? I mean, Oregon's still playing for college football playoff berth.
That's a good point. Yeah, but I think since that's on the table, I think Oregon is, obviously going to put a little effort into it. They need to win and get some style points. And I don't know. I think Kyle Whittingham and the University of Utah football program is going to have to decide if they want to give that to Oregon, because really, for Utah, this game doesn't mean a lot because it's not going to, have too much. It's not going to have any impact on their standings in the South Division. Do they want to reveal a lot about themselves in this matchup? Give Oregon some good film to watch before the championship game? I wouldn't think so. So, but at the same time, it's like, do they want to help Oregon? Do they want Oregon to be rolling even more when they meet in Vegas after the regular season? I don't know. I think it's going to be real. I think that's the interesting conversation they're probably having, and a lot of the strategy is going to be like, yeah, like you said, like how much of themselves do they want to show off?
Well, your mother was wise. I talked to her about this situation. She said, you really can't teach a team to not go out there and try to win
Oh
and
yeah,
play hard every game.
those bad habits stick. Yeah.
Yeah. And especially this late in the season, there's not
Mhm.
a lot to do. Utah hasn't had a lot of success with Oregon, obviously, in championship games.
Or really in any games, I would say. Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, when Tom Hackett had made that nice little run that he was famous for, they did win that. But yeah, yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm wrong. Go ahead.
No, but the Ducks are, they're a challenge, and I'm sure the whole Pac-12 has got their hopes of getting to the college football playoff riding on this game, because it's going to be tough. But then, Austin, what do you think about the chance that Oregon can beat Utah twice in a close span at the end of the season, this regular season game plus the championship game? Is that a tall order for Oregon or a taller order for Utah?
Definitely Utah, I would say. I think
Or is the likelihood a split?
I think I think a split's realistic. Man, it would really just be so storybook, kind of vibes to see Utah win the championship this season. I'm sure they'll play a very inspired game in the championship game. Man, it would be nice. I don't know. Maybe I'm Pollyanna in that sense. Maybe that's just unrealistic. I don't know. I think this game is a real head scratcher for me. I'm not sure what to expect or what the feeling is going to be for this particular week. It's odd. It's an odd circumstance.
And as you know, we got a buddy, the Brian Cole, who is probably the biggest Ducks fan in the state of Utah.
Right.
He'll be head to toe in green at the game, I'm sure.
Sure.
But
you know what's weird at my work at ABC4, there are actually quite a few Ducks in the newsroom. Actually,
really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
They're a loyal group, and they follow their team very closely.
Mm-hmm.
But this will be an interesting game for a variety of reasons. But wouldn't it be ironic if Utah goes to the Rose Bowl in a year where they lost to BYU, lost to San Diego State, lost to Oregon State? You would never have guessed that a team that did that would end up in the Rose Bowl.
Hey, I can see it. Let's mark it down. Let's bring it into fruition. Let's speak it into existence.
All right, it's halftime. Time to get a little swig in.
Yeah, that's right. We want to thank our sponsors. Who makes that tea you like? Milos. Unsweetened sweet tea or whatever variety of.
It's delicious.
Mm-hmm. I Mountain Dew. It's really good too.
I like it so much that I get half of it on me when I drink it. So
yeah.
I bathe in it.
I noticed that. I was wondering if the camera picked that up. That'll be a blooper.
I bathe in it. Hey, let's jump to the second half, third quarter. Let's talk about football in the state. The new AP Top 25 came out today, and BYU's still 14th. Utah's 24th. Utah State is also receiving votes. So we have three teams. Technically, Utah State is number 31 if you want to count down to how many votes. But three teams in the state are doing well, and obviously that speaks highly of what's going on, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's surprising that Utah State didn't make the rankings this week, if you ask me, because they came in as the underdogs, playing San Jose State, defending conference champs, and they they worked them. They beat them like a drum. So I was surprised Utah State didn't crack the rankings. They're doing awesome. I think what their the first year coach Blake Anderson, I believe is his name. I think he's doing a really commendable job there.
And, if the Aggies can win out and things fall into place, they're going to be in the conference championship game.
Oh, very possible. Yeah.
Nobody would have ever guessed that. And that comes in a season where they lost to Boise State.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, a couple of years after losing Jordan Love and all this kind of stuff, it feels like I mean, yeah, I think that's kind of the story that's being talked about the least. That's actually kind of the most surprising in a lot of ways, I think you could say.
It is. And now let's talk about BYU real quick. 8-2. They had a bye this week. They get back at it, I think, at Georgia Southern.
Mm-hmm.
And then they finish with USC, see if they can sweep their Pac-12,
which would be hilarious
schedule. But how do you see that working out for BYU?
I think I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they beat USC. That would be kind of a coup to go there, beat a team that's probably going to have a little bit of Jackson Dart playing in it, I would think, in that game. And USC is obviously kind of a tumultuous program right now. They don't have a head coach in place. Very possible, BYU could win out, get to 10 wins this year. That wouldn't be a stretch of the imagination at all.
And before we move on, let's talk about Weber State. They climbed back to 500 this week with a 62-0 win at Southern Utah.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
They didn't just go down and play their rival; they beat them like a drum. And
I believe it's Southern Utah's last game in the Big Sky Conference.
It is. Yeah. They're joining the WAC next year, and I think Weber sent them out with the nice kick in the pants.
Yeah. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Yeah.
And the injury racked Weber State. They're 5-5 now. They play Northern Colorado in their final game of the season. So that looks like a very possible win. So that'd be a 6-5. So that would be remarkable for Weber State, considering the hole they had to dig themselves out of and the injuries to finish with a winning season. So if you look at the four major programs, and I apologize, Southern Utah, you've had a tough year this year. I won't say 5.
And hey, Utah Tech, we're pulling for you as you play next year with a new name. That'll be fun.
Hopefully you win a game or two next year with the new name. But for BYU, Utah State, fantastic season.
Mm-hmm.
Weber State, good season as well. A little disappointing, obviously, because they've had national championship hopes.
Sure,
but it's been a great year for college football in the state.
It really has. I think every fan base can have something to feel proud about this year. BYU's doing great, and getting the Utah monkey off their back, so to speak, is got to feel incredible. I think BYU is really in a good place where they put together a couple of 10-win seasons back to back. Kalani is extended. That's great for the stability of the program. I think things are really exciting in Provo. I think they have a lot of things to feel good about as they play their final couple of years before going into the Big 12. BYU might be back in a really big way. I don't think any team really has dominated or navigated the COVID era quite the way BYU has. I think they've been really, really awesome the last couple of years.
Do we dare say rise and shout?
I think the Cougars are out. Yeah.
All right. Hey, fourth quarter, we're to the final segment here. Also, let's talk about RSL.
Yes, our most our highest knowledge base, I think, is the soccer world. Yeah,
I've been breaking down this matchup with the Seattle Sounders. I'm excited for it.
The way they've got strikers, they've got defenders. I think they got one guy in net who he plays goalie, I think, is how they're going to suit up against that team.
There's some forwards, some defensemen, midfielders.
The ball is kind of round and it's white. I don't think you can't use your hands in this game either, from what I've heard. Yeah.
But RSL to make the playoffs on the last day of the season, especially in a season.
Oh, that was exciting. Yeah. In the 95th minute. Yeah. A stoppage time goal to get to the playoffs. That was exciting. Yeah.
And what a horrible season they had to get through with all the drama off the field and such. I think it's remarkable.
Their coach quit to become an assistant coach somewhere else
at Seattle.
Yeah.
So they're
Seattle.
Going to face him in the playoffs this year. But it was a remarkable comeback, and I think they should be commended for making the playoffs because everything said they shouldn't.
Yeah. From what I've heard, I have a buddy at work who follows soccer, and from what he's told me, they're not expected to beat Seattle. Seattle's kind of juggernaut this year. But whatever. I mean, there's still a lot of good things to say about RSL. At the same time, they don't have an owner still, and that's they're kind of in this weird state of limbo. And I think it's going to be really nice for whoever the owner is to come in and put his stamp on this place and really shake things up. One thing that I saw online, people were saying, "Oh, is it possible RSL could move?" No chance. They've got too much of a footprint here logistically. I think whoever gets that team, there's some good things to build on for sure.
All right, let's throw a few other things in the mix this quarter. Our good buddy Tony Parks,
Friend of the pod, we love Tony.
friend of the pod, is now the voice of the Salt Lake City Stars. Us, you did an internship in that. What kind of opportunity is this for Tony?
Tony's just beloved. I think people are just going to be. It's really an opportunity for the Stars, I would say, to get a guy who's so beloved, really capturing the voice and covering the team that I'm sure Tony will. Tony's the hardest working guy in the market. We both talked about this at length. It's cool. Like I'm always happy to see Tony, and I'm always happy to see things go his way. He's had some bumps in the road, and it's really just awesome. And we admire his resiliency so much, and he's just such a big part of the sports scene here, and
very generous guy too.
Yeah, the most generous. Like I think he won Man of the Year a couple of years ago by some group, and I mean we're huge Tony Parks fans, and therefore I think we're probably going to tune into a couple of Stars games that we might otherwise not have.
You got that right.
What's that? Oh yeah, first game's Wednesday. Yeah. They got the what's interesting? They have not only is Dwayne Wayne's son on the team this year. Did you realize Thurl Bailey's son is on the Stars as well?
I did not.
Yeah, so a couple of
local guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're gonna be at Vivint Arena on Friday as well. So yeah, there'll be some people there.
Jeez, the Stars are doing great. But hey, before we sign off, let's just really quickly just dabble into the NFL. It's been crazy. We're both in a pick'ems contest with some friends.
Yeah, we faded fast.
In the Deseret News and that, but it's hard to pick the winners this year.
No, it really is. No, we faded really fast. I think we're both pretty much out of contention to take home the big prize. But yeah, I don't know heads or tails what's going on in the NFL. It's hard to say. Injuries seem to have a big impact, as they always do, but then sometimes they don't. So I don't know. It's hard to say. Feels the Bucks had a bad loss to who did they play today? They played. I don't know. The Bucks, it was the Washington football team. Yeah, the Bucks lost a game that
couldn't think of the nickname because they don't have a nickname.
Exactly. Yeah. No, the Bucks lost a game they shouldn't have, and I mean that's weird, but I still feel like they're the favorites in my mind. I don't know.
Well, and as Seattle Seahawks fans, it's game over for us.
The season's essentially over. It feels like this might be Russell Wilson's swan song with the team as well. So yeah, that'll be interesting to deal with in the off season. So
that's it. Yeah. Well, folks, I appreciate you joining us for the 4 quarters of fun. We got that with us. We have our parting shots and a few housekeeping things to take care of.
Yeah, you do your parting shot. Do you want to do? I'll go first. I'll do the parting shot first. Yeah. I think one of the cool things that I saw this week was after the death of that little girl who committed suicide in North Salt Lake. I think her name's Izzy. I can't remember her last name. It's kind of a difficult one to pronounce, but the Jazz players spoke out on it, gave their voices. That's something they were very passionate about. Donovan Mitchell and Joe Ingles in particular were very impacted by this death, and I think they spent their entire media availability talking about it. Ingles was especially impacted, considering this little girl had autism, and so does his son. So he was pretty emotional about it. He said he had reached out to the family and talked to the mom. The Jazz, as an organization, gave a $50,000 donation to cover her funeral costs and just other expenses the family might have. So that was a really nice gesture by the Jazz. They also had a moment of silence for her before the game against the Pacers. So I think that was a nice gesture by the Jazz. I think it's cool to see them taking such an active stance in community issues. I think that's kind of a big hallmark of the new ownership under Ryan Smith.
Oh, kudos to the Jazz. That was a classy thing to do. My parting shot is going to involve a record. Kyle Whittingham, if the Utes defeat Oregon, will become the winningest coach in University of Utah football history, surpassing Ike Armstrong, who coached the Utes from 1925 to 1949.
Wow.
And he had a record of 141, 55, and 15 ties. You can believe it. The ties were a little more prominent back then.
Sure.
Kyle Whittingham is 141 and 69 as head coach of the Utes. So they both have 141 wins. This record, the last time Ike Armstrong coached Utah to a victory, was a 34-0 decision over Utah State. And sorry, I have to read my notes here. November 24th, 1949. So this record has stood for almost 72 years.
Sure.
And Kyle Whittingham is to be commended for that. The longevity in this sport at this stage of the game is incredible. I mean, he's the dean of coaches around here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, he's run a respectable program and done that. So my parting shot is congratulations to Coach Whittingham. If he doesn't get it this week against Oregon, I'd have to think he's a favorite to get it the next week against Colorado.
For sure. And
that's
I think the thing about Whittingham that, is talked about a bit, but probably not enough, is they made a seamless transition from the Mountain West to the Pac-12. I think, I think the first couple of years of the Pac-12 were a little rough, but the teams weren't horrible, and
right.
He got them into the point where they've been perennially great in the Pac-12 very quickly. I think that's a testament to what a great coach he is.
Well, he told me on many occasions that it was like scaling the Grand Canyon to jump from the Mountain West to the Pac-12.
Oh yeah.
And it was huge. And, one other thing maybe I'd like to throw in here is I'm kind of his record geek, and I've been kind of watching this for the last several years, as he closes in on this record. And every time I bring it up to Kyle, he doesn't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure he'll give a very abbreviated statement. Yeah, I'm sure he won't go on length about it either when he breaks the record.
Yeah, and privately, probably, it's a big deal, and I'm sure his family's proud of him. I'm sure he has every reason to be proud of the things he's done. But he credits his assistants, credits the players most of all, and it's just incredible that he's been able to do this. But he doesn't want any of the credit.
Yeah, but really, he deserves it. If you think about college football coaches in the state, 1A is Lavelle Edwards, 1B's got to be Whittingham. He's really closed the gap with Lavelle. And, I think you could argue, that, 2008 season with the Sugar Bowl win was incredibly special. Maybe, obviously it doesn't have the same gravitas as a national championship, but man, Kyle Whittingham is so accomplished. And, for me, he's right up there with Lavelle in my mind. He's been that great for that long.
Yeah, but it's been fun. I remember a few years ago doing a story on comparing the 08 Utah team to the 04 Fiesta Bowl team.
Mm-hmm.
Which team was better, Urban Meyer's team
mm-hmm.
or Kyle Whittingham's head coaching team? And the jury's out because you can make a case for both teams.
It really shows Kyle was able to accomplish everything that Urban did,
and he was part of both. He was the D coordinator. So congratulations, Coach Whittingham. Also, we got a few housekeeping things we're going to bring back. We are going to give away this handsome Ute scarf this week, and we're going to give it away. And we ask whoever wins if you will email us your address so we can mail this out to you. Otherwise, we will find your address and send you a can of bean with bacon soup from our good friends at Walmart.
Absolutely.
So let's
give it a spin. Okay, I think it's ready to go.
Okay.
Do we have the music still queued up? Let me. No, I didn't. Oh yeah, there it is. Cool. Look at that. Okay.
There we go.
Just for the sake of theatrics, go ahead and tap the center there. I don't know why that doesn't seem to work when you do it. Anyway, and it doesn't work when I do it either. Oh, there we go. Okay, finally.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. And the winner is someone whose email is m@gomakecontact.com. I don't think that's a real email. I'm going to go ahead and say that's probably not a real email. So let's remove that.
Let's do it again.
Let's spin it again. And if m@gomakecontact.com is a real person, we apologize. Let's see here. Coach
Casio.
J Price at gmail.com. Appreciate it, Coach.
Coach, you got yourself a Ute scarf.
Hopefully you're a Ute fan. If you're not, you will be. Okay. Thank you. Absolutely. That was fun.
All right. Now, before we go, I got to settle a debate here. I'll probably need your help.
Sure. Yeah.
Every year at this time, there's this strong debate in this town. It divides households. It keeps people from speaking to one another.
Keeps people up at night, really.
It does. What is the best Christmas song of all time?
We're in Christmas. It is November, but Mariah Carey has decided it's Christmas season. She made that statement.
But yeah. Does FM 100 get it? And then there's a new radio station that plays Christmas music all the time. But guess what? This is the king. Can you help me?
Sure. Yeah.
And we're going to leave you with this song.